Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it might be time for a double dose of dismal Disney news today. We have not one, but two Disney videos. Today, the first one, we're going to talk about how Disney is jacking up the food prices in the parks again.
Yeah, food, beverages, mostly alcohol, but still.
And this should not surprise anyone who's been going to the parks for any length of time. They've been jacking the prices up for years now, like clockwork. Every year, new fiscal year, they always jack the prices up.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they jacked up after they came back from, having it shut down over COVID. I mean, they did this is all the time. We have articles back from 2016 on. They're nickel and diming.
Yeah.
And then they did the parking thing a few years ago, and that set people off even more, but people still are going.
They still go. That's the thing. And Disney talks about how they have record profits per guest, and it's because they're charging guests more money per trip. At what point are we gonna hit the ceiling where people aren't going to pay for Disney anymore?
Well, I think that's coming because they're talking inflation hitting like heights since 1982.
Yeah.
And they're raising prices. Now, I will say, to be fair, they're raising prices, but I think it does have a lot to do with supply and demand. The food prices have gone up, inflation and such. They're just passing it down to the consumer because they sure as hell don't want to take a cut or lose any money.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's completely because there wasn't a reason for it, but here we go again, just raising prices. But I think people are going to start having to say no because they can't afford it.
Yeah, we're starting to see more articles like this, even from websites that are pro-Disney. I mean, this one is from all ears. Everyone's saying they're done with Disney. A couple months before that, Theme Park Tourist, again, another pro-Disney,
Well, I think
theme
Disney
park
pros
site.
are trying to call it out, too, because they're hearing from all their people that come to their blog or their customers, and they're trying to, maybe if everybody says something, they can do something about it. I don't know. It hurts their bottom line, too.
It does, because I'll be honest. I've seen a decline in interest in positive Disney trip planning news. In fact, we've seen some formerly positive Disney websites do a heel turn and start dunking on Disney because that's what brings the views.
Well, not just that. I think it's because they're like, well, maybe if we all call it out, Disney hates bad publicity. Maybe they'll change some things so we can get our customers back or something. I think there's some little, serving reasons for that too.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen travel agents turn on Disney. We saw, most famously, I think Pete Werner from the Dreams Unlimited, basically saying Disney hates their customers. And for him to come out and say that, I mean, the guy's already made his money. He's a multimillionaire. It might not really cost him a whole lot at this point, but we've seen Disney influencers turn on Disney.
We've been saying it for a while too. We were pixie dusting it up for a while there.
Oh yeah.
And we turned before it was popular.
We did. We turned on Disney before it was in vogue. So everybody else kind of looks like an also ran at this point, except for WDW News Today. They've always been negative.
Yes. No, they've been negative. They've always just called out shit.
Yeah, they have, because they're consumers, they're Disney fans, and there's a market decline in the experience over the last 5 to 10 years compared to what it used to be. But yeah, I mean, we've got articles going back. This one's like 4 years ago. Is Disney World eroding fan goodwill, and it's only gotten worse from there. I mean, it's every year jacking prices, nickel and diamond, upcharges for everything.
I went and made sure I found a gold dollar sign because it's the 50th.
There you go. And it was a dud this year. It really was.
It really hasn't been that big of a deal.
Anyway, we're going to talk about all this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 251,000 subs.
Yay! Heading for 252.
Yeah, we're almost there. We're like 100 away, something like that. So thank you for the support. We do talk a lot about Disney, having worked in and around the company in various capacities.
Nah, you're lying. You're just haters.
Over the years, I've spent more time in Disney parks than, months and months of my life in Disney parks.
I still love that one person that thought it was a seamstress for Disney. I don't even know where they got that one from.
People they're just,
no.
Look, it's not just us. It's everybody calling this out. We've got a lot of mainstream, news outlets now. They're like, yeah, people are kind of getting fed up with Disney, but the reality is people still go. It doesn't matter.
They've been saying they're fed up with Disney.
It actually becomes a status symbol for some people to be like, well, you can't afford to go anymore, but I can.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm on the boards, like the Disney boards, and they have especially the annual pass holder boards. There's a reason they call them pass holes, guys. I even have a bumper sticker thing in my car that says pass hole. But you go on there, and it's funny because these people are like, fine, more room for me. Or they're like, I love it when they're like, well, you keep saying, they're not wrong. You keep saying you're not coming back in the last straw, but you keep going back, so they're not going to change anything because you keep going back and giving the money. which is true. But they have all these people that, well, no matter what you complain about, what change happens, well, you can complain all you want, more room for me. I'm going to keep going. And we see people like will ask for opinions and comments like, oh, I'm staying at this hotel. And it might be a moderate or a value hotel. And people are on there like, well, when I was over at the Grand Floridian, and they act like, you know, you're not as good as I am. It's a complete pissing match. It's hilarious as hell. It's like, well, they're not as stupid as you, I guess, spending all that money. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, actually, I think it's pretty stupid to spend $700 or $800 a night on a $200 a night hotel, but that's just me.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to burn your money, go for it. You know, absolutely go for it. So this was the upcharge of the day. You put an article out there on Pirates and Princesses.
Now, this actually came from WDW News Today. Go to their article because it has more on it. They actually have a list, and they usually keep track of all this stuff. So if you ever want to see this kind of stuff, follow them because they always
daily. They've got people in the parks. Like, yeah,
they're always on this. So full credit to them for this anyway. But yeah, so they went and did a list of what just ones they've noticed so far, and they said they're sure there's more. There's just ones they noticed. They also mentioned, like as we did with the last investor call. You had Christine McCarthy, CFO, the one that got her contract renewed and got up to several $1 million in bonuses, made the comment about because of the costs going up that they were going to have to probably shrink sizes and up the price. So let them eat cake, but smaller cake and more expensive cake, because they have to have their raises and bonuses from somewhere.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, you can see. I mean, usually it goes up 50 cents to $1, and this has been going on. Like here's an article from 2018. People were outraged that they jacked the price of the Mickey pretzel to $7.
Okay, they raised bottle. When was this from?
2018.
Bottled sodas are now $5. It was $4.50 there, and it was up from $4. So since 2018, they've gone up $1 for a bottle of pop. A bottle, one.
A Mickey ice cream bar, $6. You know how big they are? They're smaller than a Klondike bar on a stick.
Yeah, they shrunk them. They're not as big as they used to be, I don't think.
The local grocery store, a lot of times they have Klondike bars, a 6-pack of Klondike bars on sale for 2 for $6.
You can go get Mickey bars. I guess the Mickey bars in the packages are smaller. That's what I'm thinking of. The Mickey bars in the packages for the store are smaller, but they'll cost you like $5 or $6, but you get a whole box of them.
Yep. It's all about the magic. It's all about the experience. Large pepperoni pizza went up.
The prices range from, a lot of it's the alcohol, but the prices range from about 20 cents to up to like $3 to $4.
Oh my God. Oga's Cantina. I did not realize that the drinks were that expensive.
Oh, they're ridiculous.
Wait, Yub Nub is $45 to $47. What the hell is Yub Nub?
I think some of them come with like cups or they're like flights.
Jet Juice. Fuzzy Tauntaun.
And to be honest, their drinks aren't that great. I mean, they're not top shelf, I'll tell you that.
Disney drinks are horrible. They're watered down. They're at most places. Now, it depends on where you go. But most of the drinks I've had in the restaurants, the table service restaurants, are very watery.
I couldn't speak to Oga's drinks because I was there with my kids, so we got like juice.
The outer rim job, $17, $18. Yeah, I mean, they just kind of keep creeping it up. I guess they figure if you're already dropping $5,000 to $6,000 on a vacation, you can afford an extra $1 or $2 for.
And people say they always argue. They always are like, well, it's not very much. It's only like a couple bucks, so it's fine. I'll pay it. Okay, yes, it's been a couple bucks, but that couple bucks has happened repeatedly over the last how many years, and it's getting out of hand. It's not. I mean, now it might keep up with inflation because inflation is going to go through the roof. But previously, it was outpacing inflation significantly. Yeah.
So add to that's just the food and beverage, increases.
They increased souvenirs.
Hotels,
yes.
Souvenirs. What are mouse ears now? They're like the mini mouse ears are like $30. They used to be $20.
Yeah.
Your Spirit jerseys. I know.
Oh, they were like 60 and now they're up to like 75 or 80.
Yeah, it's and they're actually dropping the quality. Like I know there's a debacle over the Spirit jerseys. They got the wrong ones.
Oh yeah, so these and their infinite wisdom. They leaked these pictures of these Spirit jerseys that were for the 50th anniversary, and they were like sequin. They had the Walt Disney World on the back and sequins and all this stuff. And they had like a 50th anniversary Walt Disney World thing on the front. Well, they advertised them on the website, and everybody was excited because they were waiting for these things to come out for months because they kept teasing it. Finally came out. People bought them like crazy. And they had a Disneyland version too, which I think wasn't fair considering it was a Walt Disney World 50th, but okay, whatever. So they did a Disneyland version too. When people got the Spirit jerseys, they were not what they ordered. They were the Spirit jerseys. They did not have the writing and sequins on the back. They were just basic puff paint. They all, I think, had like the Mickey Mouse on it. That was for the Disneyland version. Yeah. I think it just had like Disney on the back. And then people said that they think those were like actually from like Japan. They're like the Japanese, the ones they were selling in Japan. And instead of making the right ones, they just dumped them on the thing. Well, people, of course, were mad. Finally, they took it off the site. They left it on the site and kept selling it, even though there was a problem. I don't know if they'll ever get the right ones in.
And they've had a lot of problems with Shop Disney even during the pandemic and all that. But the thing is that like a lot of the merchandise, even, it seems like they're just making generic Disney merchandise. And I honestly think the reason they repainted the castle in Disney World, the colors they painted it, was so that they could just double dip on Disneyland.
Disney Castle.
It's the Disney Castle, and they're all pink and blue all over, whatever. But they were talking last fall about how the revenue was through the roof, obviously compared to the previous year because the parks were closed, but also, the amount of money per guest that was being spent. So it's not just the food and beverage, it's not just the merchandise, it's not just the parking, it's also the ticket prices. Mm-hmm. It's also the annual passes. They jacked those up.
Well, they did. Then they blocked out something they were supposed to block out. Or they basically stopped selling the ones at Disneyland for the high end ones, the higher price ones. They just stopped selling them.
It's also Genie. That's a big...
Oh yeah, the Genie Plus thing with the lightning lanes and all that, and the pay to ride, which is causing a huge amount of problems at the parks.
Yeah, so let's go down this list. This is really interesting. All Ears used to be a very, very pro-Disney site. It was run by, for the longest time, a couple of travel agents. I think they sold it. But it was. Their YouTube's really popular. Yeah, they were.
Our daughter watches it.
What, All Ears?
Oh, she loves All Ears. She watches all the time.
It used to be a couple of older ladies ran the travel agency, but they've been one of the earliest, Disney information sites out there. I mean, them and the Diz, I think, were like the two earliest. So again, this is a business model. They've made a living giving people information on Disney. Mm-hmm. Eat, sleep, breathing Disney, and they're even like, people are saying they're done with Disney. Mm-hmm. This is just a couple of weeks ago. Before that, we had the Disney bubble bursting on theme park tourist. So not a good look for your 50th anniversary. But all pictures I've seen, the parks are still pretty packed.
Yeah, they do look packed. People are going
as
anyway.
long as people go. But anyway, this is why people are saying they're done with Disney. And we'll talk about this. Number one, the Magical Express is ending. Now, yes. For those of you who don't know, in Disney World, if you stay at a Disney resort hotel, being one of the hotels in the Disney park.
Well, if you did. Past tense. You basically had a free shuttle from the airport to Disney and back, and it was very convenient. And it kind of, especially if you had kids, it kind of got you into the magic early because they had Disney cartoons and stuff like that in the bus, and it was fun. Disneyland's a different deal entirely. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
We'll talk about that.
That was awful.
But they're taking it away. So people, part of the reason, again, this is kind of like with the parking too, people paid more to stay on property at Disney because they got the transportation for free, they got the parking for free, and they got to get in the parks early and all this other stuff, and they keep taking away.
Right. Now it's like, instead of extra magic hour, it's like early morning half hour now.
Early morning minute.
Yeah, early morning minute.
The early morning minute.
And you can pay extra for that. And then they have, like, they used to do like the Magic Express. Now, they got rid of it. And their Mears was stepping up, because I guess Mears ran the Magic Express anyway, was stepping up to fill the void, but now people are there's some kind of communication errors, and people are not getting to their flights because apparently they weren't picked up at the hotel or something. So I've heard this from several places. Now, a lot of people were saying that they didn't have trouble when it was them. Yeah. But there's some people who ran into trouble. But I mean, that's bound to happen. But they're doing this, but it costs you money. There's all these different services that are coming up now, but they're costing a lot more. And then as a result of this, Uber raised their prices. It's like double the cost of what it was to get a ride from the airport to the parks.
Oh, of course.
Because we always took sometimes we did Magic Express, but a lot of times we did Lyft. Yeah. Because you got there faster than all the stops. Yeah. And now those prices are doubling, or almost doubling, because they don't have the Magical Express anymore.
Oh boy. So let me, while we're on this real quick, let me tell you about our last,
Disneyland. Oh
last
my God.
trip to Disneyland. So
that was awful.
Disneyland, if you're coming from out of state, is always a cluster.
Always go to Anaheim Airport.
Go to John Wayne.
Don't go to LAX.
Is it still called John Wayne? I thought it was probably.
Oh, they probably changed it. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, if you go to LAX, it's quite the chore to get to the parks.
Yeah, don't go there.
They have a bus that supposedly picks you up. We waited for what, 3 or 4 hours for the bus to pick us up. And basically, if the bus was full, and you paid for this, if the bus was full, they'd just pass you by.
Yep.
Now, there are lots of people with hand-painted signs and beater cards that are willing to take you to Disney.
For $100 a person?
Yeah. So definitely you want to get a lift or something. But travel to and from the park has always been kind of a hassle. And this was great for people because it's like basically all you got to do is get on the airplane. Once you get off the airplane in Orlando, your trip's basically taken care of. And Disney also did it too because they wanted to make sure you were stuck in the park. You were stuck on property. Like you could go anywhere in Disney, take the buses wherever you wanted to go, but like you weren't leaving the Disney property. You
didn't have a car, so you could get
right.
So that was the first thing that the people are upset because that's gone. Now it's costing you a lot more money. Genie Plus. Okay. This has been a disaster. I mean, it depends who you ask, but from I have seen some people complain about it. Now, if you use, I think the paid, this is the thing they set up, that you can get the Genie Pass for free. Okay, and anybody can use it. And it's supposed to tell you when to go ride things when you have at least chance of running into line. But then people said they followed it and they ended up getting to ride 2 or 3 things the whole day, and that was it because they want you to pay for the Lightning Lane. And it's complete. I guess now it's pretty much the Little Mermaid experience for everyone. Geez. And for those who don't know the Little Mermaid experience, I'll let you explain the Little Mermaid experience.
The Little Mermaid experience is, and we call it that because we waited for an extra
hour plus
on the Mermaid ride because they were letting all the Fast Pass people through first before they let us plebs through.
Right, because normally they leave like 30 Fast Pass people and then like 5 regular ticket people. But this guy, if he saw someone coming at the end of the line, even if it would take him 3 minutes to walk there, he made everybody wait. Yeah, there was plenty of time to get a bunch of us on, but he would see them coming in the final room and he'd be like, oh yeah, come on over, and you'd have to wait till we got all these people loaded, and then you get like a tour group come in or something. You load them up. You get like 5 people through, and then here come another person. When there's plenty of time to get 10 more people in. Yeah. And this lasted. I mean, this was nuts. So our kids have now referred to it as the Little Mermaid. Well, I was gonna say I don't think we've ridden Mermaid since then. No, we haven't because they don't want to ride it now. The ride sucks too. But now apparently people are reporting this is not the case everywhere, but it's happening. A lot of people are complaining that they're on rides, and I guess cast members are being told the ratios they used to use for Fast Pass are a lot different now. So they let like 50 people in on Fast Pass for every 10 non-Fast people. It's like that, but worse. Apparently. Oh, God. And even if that's not what they're supposed to do, that's what's happening. So Lightning Lane people are just going through, and even then it's still a wait. And now if you're standby with the Genie Plus without the paid, you might as well count on not riding jack shit when you're there, because it used to be at least balanced. Now it's not. Yeah. And then the people that pay extra even beyond that get to go front of the line. So basically, you can get past all that, but you have to pay a lot, because it ends up being like, was it $15 per day per person? On the Lightning, it might be 20, I think, at Disneyland for Lightning Lane, and then you could also buy front access. But each attraction it could cost you an extra $100 a day per person. Easy. It's a pay to win scheme. Basically, Disney parks at this point, they're not for everybody. If you want to win Disney, you basically have to pay to win. You have to stay on property. You have to pay upcharges, especially now. And honestly, the way to do it, if you actually want to do everything and enjoy your trip, is to go get a tour guide at like $300 or $400 an hour. Oh, I think it's higher than that. It's higher than that now? Maybe. I know it's expensive. It's several thousand a day, to use them for like the minimum now. Yeah. But it's funny to me, the people there are making fun of for saying the value resorts. They're probably in the value resorts so they can go laugh at your ass while you're stuck in at the Lightning Lane while they're at front of line access. You just sleep at the hotel. For the most part, you just sleep at the hotel. But I'm just like, the people are complaining, though, because I guess it's way worse than Fast Pass. People always said Fast Pass slowed the lines down, which I completely believe. But it's like 100 times worse now. And I can't tell you how many people I've seen complain about it. I've seen some people like it. Most people don't. Yeah, I've heard a lot of complaints about it, a lot of people. But look at all the people. They still line up for it. Some have felt that Genie Plus is useful. Well, if you have money. Fans, and it has them wanting to say they're done with Disney. I think that's only 30% of people in the parks are even using it. It's not. It used to be that you could at one point in time, and you still could do it in Disneyland fairly recently. You could just show up to the parks and not have an itinerary and just kind of get in line and go ride what you want to ride. When I was a kid and I went to Disneyland, that's what we did. That's what we did when I was a kid. I didn't have Fast Passes back then. No, I remember when they started Fast Passes, but yes. Yeah, and even the last time we went to Disneyland was 2018.
And I still remember it was, for the most part, it paid to just wait in line instead of, getting.
Well, sometimes, you actually wait longer. They said that's happening on some things that aren't super popular rides. People are getting lightning lanes or whatever, and they're waiting longer.
Yeah.
But the paper ride, you're only allowed 2 paper ride selections per day. So they're trying to limit it, but those people get front of line. Now, the good news is the virtual queues they've been doing that everybody hated, they have taken away. The last one was Ratatouille. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, they are not doing that anymore. So now standby is open. I think it started today. So you don't have to do the virtual queue anymore, which that was a complete nightmare from hell too. But you don't have to do that anymore.
I mean, this is it. Like you're already paying a ridiculous amount of money just to get into the park. And then you have to pay on top of that just to be able to ride the rides that you went to the park to ride.
Right. FastPass Plus was complimentary. You got 3, so it made it more fair for everyone. And now you're just doing Lightning Lane and the Genie Plus apps is sending people all over the place.
But they're bragging about it. I mean, when you have their CFO bragging that they're going to cut back on the portion sizes and charge more.
Because, guests are fat.
They're too fat, which, okay, there might be some truth to that. But beyond that.
I honestly think she was kidding in that.
But beyond that, that's what they're doing. And this is why people are getting fed up, is they're giving you less and charging you more. And they keep doing it. They're basically, Disney at this point is trying to see how much they can get away with until they get called out. Look at what happened with the lightsabers. Where they put the lightsabers in the bags, they weren't even going to offer a discount.
Well, they also ran out of boxes, the Droid Depot too. So the people were mad about that too. So they had carrying boxes for the droids. They ran out of that too, and they're putting it in plastic bags. Now I'm going to tell you, the box isn't the same as the sleeve for the lightsaber, because the lightsaber sleeve actually protects the lightsaber. The box for droids is kind of cool looking, but you don't need it. So it's not the same thing. But they ran out of those too.
It was just like a Chinese takeout box for droids, but
it kind of was. I mean, they rattle around in there. It wasn't a big deal.
It wasn't for protection. But I mean, nickel and diming, they're talking about the magic bands going up. Magic bands aren't complimentary.
They used to be,
They used to be complimentary.
You used to get free magic bands when you went to your trip. Yep. And then you could pick your colors. And if you wanted special ones, you paid extra. Now everybody has to pay for them. But because I said you don't need them, you can use your phone, which you technically can.
Yeah, technically.
But I wouldn't let my phone out because I probably would lose it.
Yeah.
Or break it, which we've done. Smash Mountain.
Oh my God, yeah. I've had so many mishaps with phones.
You lost your phone.
Pinky Boo had her phone destroyed at Disney.
You broke your phone on Smash Mountain. And the irony is, I wanted him to let me record the ride. It's because I had the handle to hold it, and he wouldn't let me because he said you'll probably drop it. And instead, the lap bar smashed his phone instead.
Yeah.
He let me record it. He wouldn't have lost his phone.
Yeah, Smash Mountain. Every phone I've had has gotten smashed somehow. Taking away hotel perks, we talked about that. People are mad about the magic bands. And,
you can't get some package deliveries, and like they used to get, like, people would have things shipped in from Amazon and different places.
Yeah.
They charge for that now.
I used to do that, like when I was covering the parks for the other theme park blog. I would literally have, if I needed like camera equipment or stuff like that, I would actually have it sent from like Amazon or BH Photo and have it sent to the park, so it was there when I got there. Like, I need to get I need batteries or cards or whatever. I would have it sent down.
Right, because you're going to pay out the nose there. It's interesting here. They're bringing up the 30 minutes. You used to have extra magic hours. Now you get extra in morning 30 minutes for hotel guests. However, they do have extended evening hours at certain parks only for the deluxe resort or deluxe villa guests. Yeah. So those who spend the most money, they get free extra time in the parks because they're them.
Yep. Making things more exclusive. That is it. Disney, if they could just have 1%ers in the parks and they could just vacuum the money out of their wallets, they would absolutely do it. And it is almost a pissing contest. I mean, I don't understand.
I've seen it be a pissing contest.
I don't understand the mentality of some of these people. Like, they actually think it's a badge of honor to waste more money.
They do. Like me, it's funny. I'm like one of those people that like, oh, I love your dress. Thanks, I got it at Goodwill for $3. And some of these people are like, I like your dress. Okay, what was designer from this season? And it cost me $3,000. And I'm just like, I'm not one of those people. So I'm just like, if you want to overspend for something, then that's your stupidity. Yeah, another mention about the extra evening hours again. If you stay at the deluxe.
They'll take that away. They'll take it away eventually.
Well, a lot of the deluxe hotels are it's easier access to the parks too.
Like the boardwalk.
The boardwalk. I love the boardwalk hotels. I mean, I will tell you that. I mean, it's great. I will give you that one. But they have the ones on the monitor or on the boat or on the Skyliner or whatever. You're going to pay more because you have easy access to the parks. Easier.
Easier. Missing entertainment. That was a big complaint. They've been letting a lot of entertainers go.
Well, they did, but we got some good news. Some of the citizens of Hollywood are back.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, they just came back like a couple days ago. And we also have down at the American Adventure, the Voices of Liberty are back. The thing I'm concerned about was the videos of them. They came back yesterday. They were wearing their the outfits they wear for like the 4th of July, or the ones they wear on the stage. Yeah, so like modern outfits. So I'm hoping that was just because it's a special event and not a budget cut. Because that's one thing I will get pissed about is the Voices of Liberty. They always had the colonial outfits, and it better not be something about problematic history.
Oh my God.
Or I'm gonna what the hell? Because the whole point of that is like it's colonial American history.
Yeah, I mean they're slowly starting to bring them back. They kind of use the pandemic though to I think reshuffle the deck, and they're like, okay, well some of these union employees we're going to get rid of, or you can come back, but you can't be a member of the union to do it.
I don't know if they're doing that.
I don't know.
I don't know, but I know they're looking for. I think they're bringing the monkey performers back in the Festival of Lion King, like the acrobats, because they were looking for people for that. So that they are bringing the live actors back.
Now, this is going to vary greatly depending on how you feel about the situation. Some people avoiding travel altogether because of the pandemic. Some people feeling Disney isn't doing enough, being in Florida.
If you're worried about social distancing, do not go to Disney World.
No, even when we were there in 2020.
When there was socially distancing.
Yeah, when there was social distancing. I'm going to be honest, I think Universal did a better job with it than Disney did. They spaced people out somewhat, but God,
people weren't paying attention.
They weren't paying attention.
Was it Mackie?
Oh, that kid Mackie. I know his name because they kept saying his name like 100 times. Yeah, there was a family of like 8 people, and the youngest, this kid named Mackie, kept the kid. I swear to God, if he could crawl up my ass, he would have done it.
True.
He was like right under, because I could feel this bumping on my backpack, and I'm like, "What is that?" And some kid's head like right up against my butt, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He wasn't
farted.
He wasn't paying attention. He was just like hanging off the rails, licking the rails.
We had so many kids, the parents weren't paying attention.
So the oldest kids were trying to wrangle Mackie. It was like Jeffrey from the Bill Cosby skit. Now I just mentioned Bill Cosby and kids crawling up my ass in the same video. We're totally demonetized. But it was like, you ever see that skit with Bill Cosby talking about Jeffrey? Well, this is Mackie. So I knew this. I'm like, Mackie is going to get a smacky pretty damn soon. Because this kid, I don't care.
He doesn't back you off.
Yeah, COVID or not, I don't care if this kid is way too close to me.
What's that ironic even more is it was the Pirates of the Caribbean. Maybe he thought he was a butt pirate. I don't know.
I was so pissed. I'm like, you can't just drop kick a kid in the middle of Disney.
No.
It can't just
people done to our kids.
It can't just
strollers.
Yeah, right. It can't just turn around to this 2-year-old and be like, "Could you back the F?"
He wasn't 2. He was 4 or 5. The kid was old enough to know. At least 4.
It's like, back the F up, kid. Right in the middle of a Disney park, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, it's Clownfish TV! Look what they did!"
They'll be like, "How dare you talk to my kid?" We would never do it anyway. But I mean, they used to socially distance it. If you see pictures, you'll see that is not the case now.
That is not the case.
And outdoor, I don't think you wear a mask. So if that's something that you're concerned about, you probably don't want to go Disney anytime soon. Just letting you know.
Yeah, well, it's going to be really interesting with the cruises because they're all up in the air now, too, because Omicron. So
now this one's a little different. The virtual queues in that sense is...
They're a pain in the ass.
Well, they're not doing them now.
Yeah.
I don't know about Disneyland, but Disney World, the last one was the Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, and that one is now standby open. So you do not have to do that. I don't think they're doing the virtual queues anymore. But it sucked because you had to get there. Now, they changed it that you could do it from your hotel. But for the longest time, like Rise of the Resistance, you had to be in Hollywood Studios at a certain time when they came available to get one. If you weren't in there, you weren't allowed to access it. It was insane.
So we went to Hollywood Studios about a month, I guess, after, I think it was a month or so after Rise of the Resistance opened. And I think we were up at 5 o'clock in the morning to freaking walk because we were staying at the boardwalk, so we were walking the path.
We were at the beach club.
Or beach club. It was the boardwalk area. So we were in the boardwalk area, and we were walking to Hollywood Studios 5:30, get there by 7. It was dark, just to ride the ride. Now, thankfully for us, the ride actually worked, and all the effects worked at the time, and apparently a lot of people were having problems.
We have a video up somewhere, don't we?
Somewhere. It's out there somewhere. But yeah, it actually, everything worked, and it was okay, but I'm like, this was not worth
Well, we
getting up
got
at 5
there.
o'clock
Well,
in
one of the
morning
reasons
for.
we got up so early was because we wanted to make sure we were close to the front. And the good news was you could go right on to like get in line for Slinky Dog or whatever. The problem is we found if you get into those large groups, people's phones wouldn't work because the data wouldn't work because there's too many people around you. So we actually didn't forgone for whatever any of the lines. And what we did instead was we went and sat in the middle of the park where no one was, and that's how we got ours. But we got it right away because we didn't have interference, and we got right through.
People complaining it's too expensive. Things are getting more and more expensive.
No shit.
Bringing it some to the point of saying they're done with the parks by choice or necessity. Yeah, it used to be like I remember when we first started going as a family, you could actually have a trip for like 4 or 5 days if you stayed at a value and you didn't eat out every meal for like $2,000-$3,000.
He drove. Yeah, we drove.
If you drive, and now you're talking, just to get into the damn park, you're probably talking $5,000-$6,000 for the same trip.
Depends. Yeah, and you have to understand any child that's like, I think children tickets are 3 to 9. If you're over 10, they consider you an adult.
Yeah.
For the everything. Also, I want to point out that you still can bring food with you into the parks.
For now. Other theme parks won't let you.
Yeah.
Like Hershey Park, I know won't let you.
No. So for now, you can still bring food. So there is a way to offset some costs there, but that's for now.
Yeah. So it's people are getting kind of fed up. What is this? Park hopping is.
Yeah, you can't go until after like 2:00 or whatever. Like people bought like annual passes and different things are bought the park hopper add-ons so they could hop between parks. Used to be you could go like in the morning and go wherever you wanted, but now you cannot hop to the park until 2:00 if there's availability.
Many things aren't back to normal yet. The buffet meals obviously are.
That's hit and miss. They are bringing them some. I think there's more Disneyland than Disney World that got some of those back.
Yeah. Well, again, the guidelines are way different in California than they are in Florida. Some of the autographs. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're trying to bring more princesses back and but they're still keeping people distanced. So, but that's all understandable because of the pandemic. But there's a lot of crap that they've been just using this as an excuse to charge you more for.
Yeah, I think that's what they did. I think they basically used the pandemic and they're slowly bringing stuff back as it's financially viable. But for the most part, they learned during the pandemic that people would still pay full price to go to Disney for half the experience.
Yeah, and they did.
And they did.
They would charge you the same price, and you weren't getting the hours are shorter. There was limited access to a lot of things. A lot of things weren't open. Actors were gone, but people were still paying it because they needed their hit. And so now they just keep doing it.
So we'll see what happens, but it does seem more and more people are done with Disney now. That being said, there are still a shit ton of people that go. The crowds on some days are absolutely insane, and as long as people are still throwing money at Disney, even if the experience is budget cut, there's no incentive for them to change.
They'll take your money.
They'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
They'll gladly take it. Mm-hmm. Even if they get more money out of fewer people going to the parks, which is what I think is eventually going to happen. What their goal is.
Yeah, we know that's what their goal is.
Yeah, to eventually cut down the number of people going to the parks, but to make more money per person. So I don't know, guys. Do you think Disney's still worth it? Leave a comment.
Yeah. It's becoming more and more less worth it.
I got to tell you, we didn't go at all last year, and I didn't miss it. I know you did, but I didn't miss it. We could have gone it. We actually had annual passes. We paid for annual passes we didn't use, but it was just the hassle of it and everything around it.
Mostly the travel hassle.
The travel hassle, and I'm just like, I don't know if it's worth it anymore. I don't know if it is, but I don't know. You might feel differently. Leave a comment. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.